All right. So you probably heard about this controversy that's going on over in the village of New Paltz. And we talked a little bit about that earlier in the week. The New Paltz Planning Board took a vote whether or not to read the Pledge of Allegiance before their meetings, and they voted against it. Now, Amy Cohen, who's on the board, she appeared on Fox and Friends, and she's been talking. She's the one that really presented this whole thing. We've got Michael Ziegler with us, who's also on the planning board, and you're one of the people that voted against adding the Pledge of Allegiance to the agenda.
Right, I did.
Okay. So I've got a lot of questions for you. So first of all, how did this all come up? How did this start? So
first off, just one misconception to clear up. It's not as if we started saying had been saying it and decided not to say it. So we haven't been saying it, and as far as I know, it hasn't been said for 20 years at the planning board. In fact, throughout the community, the only board that really says it are the town board, which is elected officials, in the village, the village board of trustees, which is elected, they say it, and the police commission. The other 20 or so boards, which are all volunteer, none of them have been starting their meetings with the pledge. So, as you mentioned, one of the planning board members brought this up as something that she was wondering if the planning board in the town would be interested in starting to do this. And there was discussion around it, and a vote was taken, and it was decided not to change anything. So, in other words, her request was turned down.
All right. So I guess the question I have is, it seems to me, and I don't know Amy Cohen or anybody else who's for or against this, but it seems to me like this is one of those political traps where it's like, all right, I want to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and if you decide not to do it, you're just going to look bad. There's really no way around it. So, like, for example, if somebody started a rally and said, "Hey, Boris and Robin, we want you to do the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the radio show," and if there were other radio shows across the country that did it, how could you say no to that? Like, so my question, I guess, is, why was there? Why did you vote no?
So the reason that I came into the meeting pretty undecided. I was an elected official in the 2000s in the village, and we said the pledge at every meeting, and it was fine with me, and it's fine that we don't on the planning board. And so I listened to what people had to say, and I didn't really find the arguments to switch and begin to say it particularly compelling. I had a couple of colleagues on the planning board who felt that they weren't going to say it if we had decided to start doing it, and they felt like it would make them very uncomfortable. It seemed like it was going to be a wedge issue for planning board members.
So I guess that's my question. I'm really not clear on that. What was the reason given for why people wouldn't say it?
I can't speak for them, but I think it's a matter of their personal feelings about what the pledge means in terms of how they feel about it's not questioning how they feel about the United States of America, but it's really the pledge. I've had discussions with my wife about this. Does it mean that you are somehow placing this country above every other country? Does it mean that you're taking an oath that somehow ties you to do something? I don't know, because I don't have that kind of strong compulsion one way or the other. I see it as something that in certain circumstances you do because it's part of our being an American citizen. But
all right, so I guess you're saying there's some people on the planning board who feel strongly against actually saying it, and you don't feel that way, but you voted no because you didn't want to have this wedge issue where some people weren't going to stand up and other people would, and it would make a whole big issue out of something.
Yeah, planning boards actually are pretty important in your community, and we make decisions about what things are going to look like, what gets built, what doesn't get built, and we often have to disagree about complicated issues. And in order to be able to have a civil discourse where we disagree, we have to trust each other. And if this sort of thing gets in the way, then that's a problem. And at the time, that's how I felt. So since then,
how's that working out now?
Exactly. So yeah,
no wedge now.
Right. So it's kind of not what I expected, and so part of the reason I spoke with vets yesterday and why I've come here is because I want to hear other sides of this.
Yeah. So now you said the other day you spoke to a room full of vets.
I did.
What was some of the feedback you got from them? Did that change your mind a little bit about how you voted, or what?
It's certainly making me rethink things. Yeah, I mean their position is that for them and I'm still trying to work this out, but for them it seems like the Pledge of Allegiance is something that you do that sort of represents your citizenship in this country, and because of their personal sacrifice that they've made as vets, then they feel very strongly that this kind of act is an important thing to do at government meetings because of the relationship between citizenship and government at any level, whether it's national or local.
Yeah.
And some of them, one person in particular was really, I thought, very clear. He said, he likes to reframe this not so much as a controversy, but as an opportunity to rethink across the community, not just the planning board, but throughout government, what we might want to do with respect to the pledge. And, in New Paltz, as we were saying, things tend to get controversial quickly.
Yeah, it seems to happen a lot in New Paltz.
And there's no way that we're going to resolve this where everybody's going to agree that we should or shouldn't say the pledge. And part of what we're trying to do now as a community is begin to try to figure out how we can resolve this. Yeah. But I just want to say a big reason I came on the radio, too, was that, unfortunately, a lot of people who've spoken in response to this controversy, whether they're local or across the country, have not been very kind, and things have gotten threatening and personal, and that makes civil discourse impossible.
Yeah, you mentioned that, there's been threats of violence and people saying some pretty terrible things to board members. And, that's really not the American way either.
No.
Yeah.
No, and we're hoping that that people will give the community a chance to talk about this together civilly and
how many people are on the planning board?
7 members.
7 members. And what was it,
it was
3, 4 or something?
Exactly.
So can't you kind of just say the pledge, and the 4 that don't want to just not say it? I mean,
well, I think that's you said earlier. That's the reason why you voted against it. You don't necessarily have a problem with the pledge, but you just didn't want half the people to stand and the other half to create this awkward tension in the room.
That's exactly.
Well, can't you just do it without the tension? Look, I believe in this. You believe in that. We're going to say it. If you don't want to say it, you don't say it. But we're going to say it to honor the people that believe in it. I mean, can't we all get along? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with you, Robin. I don't know what the ultimate answer is. That's what we have to talk about.
I mean, I don't personally understand why you wouldn't want to read the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm not the most religious person in the world, and I know there's the under God part. Mm-hmm. It's just our country's not perfect, and the pledge isn't perfect. But it's what we have, and we can work towards fixing something like that. But that doesn't mean that you don't read it, I guess.
I respect anybody's personal feelings, if they don't want to do it. I don't think they should have to. It doesn't mean they don't love their country, but I think the opportunity should be there to do it. We're going to read it. If it's not what you want to do, then don't do it. And if you believe in it, then do it. That's what this country is all about. We're going to. Some people don't sing the Star Spangled Banner, If you don't want to sing it, don't sing it, but stand up, let us do it. Let us do what we believe in. Yeah. Just,
Bring that back to the board for us.
Bring that back to the board. Tell them, listen, I was on the Boris and Robin show.
No, I appreciate it. I really appreciate you coming in and having a conversation about it. And again, it's nice to have civil conversations about these things. We can all have different opinions, but at the end of the day, we're all Americans, and we can talk about stuff. So
let's hope that continues.
All right.
Thanks.
Best of luck, and give our best to everybody over there in the village of New Paltz.
Thank you.